Pushing yourself to move forward through all the noise, the uncertainty, and change can be really difficult sometimes because it's really hard. Running a business in these competitive times is really hard. Growing your career in times of change is really hard. But what I've learned is that you can't just push your way forward sometimes. It's not good enough. You need to be pulled forward. Being pulled forward through all the problems and challenges is one of the most powerful secrets of success in times of change and chaos. What pulls us forward is not the money. It's not the money, the market share, or the millions. It's something pretty simple. It's people. It's serving others. It's serving a cause greater than you. That's what makes life compelling. That's what gives our goals meaning. We are pulled forward by connecting what we do with how it affects other people. Let me share with you a quick story. Enjoy this clip. So I was on this trip to India, and I was supposed to spend a day in the field in a village with this non-governmental organization, this NGO, that delivered healthcare. Okay, so they had this model where they took a guy in a village, and or a young lady in the village. Often it was a guy because of security reasons, but they took a guy in the village, and they trained him to check blood pressure, and to help to give sanitation, better sanitation, that the government for some of the villagers, and to help them find healthcare. So I was in this position where I got a chance to go to the village and spend a day with this person. And so the village has, there's no hospitals, there's no doctors, there's no nurses, there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. And this village is in the middle of nowhere, 4 hours from any major city. So I was supposed to meet this guy. His name is Prakash, and he was going to show me around at the program of healthcare delivery that he was running, meaning going around and talking to people about the healthcare needs and trying to take them to hospitals hundreds of miles away in some cases. So I meet this gentleman, and he's 6 foot tall, jeans, a white shirt. I see a buffaloes all around me. I'm in this middle of nowhere. I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing here? I was stressed out about my own job. I said, do I really need to be here? I raided the mini bar back in the hotel room for Advil, Purell, and I'm like, I'm going to get sick. I know it. I'm going to lose a signal. How am I going to get home? You know, this sort of overthinking mind that I have sometimes. It makes me, sort of worry about the future. So I'm with this guy. So we go to our first villager to talk about the healthcare that he was delivering. Okay, so we go to the first village, first home, and these homes are really made out of sort of mud and some bricks. So we go to the first villager, and he brings these files, and he says, okay, this is the first patient, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, I'm not what you do. I was just there because my company had supported some of the work that was going on there. So this woman in this orange saffron sari comes out, and she puts her daughter, her 8-year-old daughter, on the cot in front of me, and the daughter couldn't move. And so he says, I was presented with her. She's disabled. She couldn't get out of bed, and I don't know what's wrong with her. And but we took her to nearby hospital, and they said they couldn't do anything. And I just sort of smiled, and I touched her, and I said hello to the mother, and I said, okay, tell me this experience. Didn't know what was wrong with her. Didn't have any idea what was wrong with her. My sense was there was something in the skeleton that was something wrong where she couldn't move. So we had that conversation. We went to another home where there was a man who was a farmer, who was an alcoholic, and his blood pressure was really through the roof, and his wife was worried. We went to another place where a little boy with cerebral palsy was shown. So during the course of the day, he took me around this village, and file after file started sharing with me the stories of these villagers. And from home to home, hut to hut, I was drained, emotionally drained. I understand how you feel. There's so many challenges. And I look around, and there's nothing in this village. They don't have clean toilets. They don't have running water. They have no doctor, nothing, zero. And so to make conversation with Prakash, this gentleman who was showing me around, and I said, Prakash, so, how long have you been doing this? Sort of casual conversation, and said, why do you do this job, And he says, well, I fell into it this way. And I said, okay. So during the course of the day, I was drained. It was evening, we were headed home, and I said, Prakash, can I lift home in our van? Because he was going to take like 3 or 4 buses to get home like 8 hours, 9 hours later. I said, let's take our car, we'll take you someplace. So he said, fine. So we got in the car, so we're finally going, and I said, Prakash, I really don't understand why you do this job. You make $200 a month. You're not a nurse, you're not a doctor, and these people have nothing. Why do you do it? And he said to me, because there's this woman who's waiting for me, tomorrow. And I said, well, what does that have to do with anything? I said, why do you do this job? He goes, because she's waiting for me. She needs me. And then it hit me. So next day, he was supposed to go to visit this woman in this other village that had very high blood pressure, and he wanted to check up on her. And then it hit me. It hit me because and here's the point of the story, is that when you serve a person, you're more likely to get out of bed in the morning. Because when you have that purpose that pulls you out of bed, that's moving forward. That's what gets us out of bed, is when you're serving a purpose, a person or a cause that can get you through anything. And for him, there was this woman that was waiting for him the next day. She was counting on him. So his life had meaning because this woman was waiting. And that's enough. You don't need a lot. And I realized in my job back home, part of the reason I would go to work every day, because I had a small team of people who were really good people, and I wanted to make sure they were okay. It wasn't necessarily because of me. And I had this one colleague, she was going through really difficult times, and sometimes I just go to work to show up to her. We show up for people. We show up because of our colleagues and because there's a patient waiting. That's why you show up. And that is a very powerful force that can get you through anything. That can get you through not having toilets, not having resources. I mean, you have toilets here, I think, but you may not have resources, but you can get through anything when you have the strength of someone else. The reason why you do something is for somebody else. And so if you can do that, that's a really powerful lesson for me. And does that make sense? That makes sense.